All right, let's just get right into it. For 40 years, I was a professional gardener. I built landscapes that were meant to last lifetimes. But you know what? I failed, spectacularly, at designing something way more important, a personal life that could actually sustain a human heart. So this explainer, it's about that failure, and what I learned rebuilding from the absolute ground up.
This right here is the admission that changed everything for me. It came after decades of professional success, but it was the truest thing I could possibly say about my life back in 2012. You know, it's the kind of truth that either breaks you for good or it forces you to find a completely new way to grow.
And that breaking point, well, for a gardener, it really felt like the day the shovel itself just snapped in two.
I hit what I now call my hinge point. It was this wall of burnout so thick and so absolute that all my expertise, all my skills, they meant nothing. My entire system, the one I had so expertly managed for other people, completely and utterly failed me. And it wasn't a slow decline, it was just a sudden, catastrophic break. My partner and I, we were caught in the exact same trap, just running on empty until the engine finally seized. And I was left standing there in the wreckage of a life that felt completely clear-felled, all because I couldn't just say, enough. So what went wrong, right? I had all the right tools, I had the right techniques. The problem wasn't the hardware, it was the operating system. My software was fundamentally corrupted.
In my search for a way to rebuild, I turned to Wilf Richards' work on permaculture, and this idea changed everything. A principle isn't just a rule. The word itself comes from principium, which means the beginning, the source code, the very foundation of how you think.
Now this is really the key to the whole thing. A technique, something like double digging a garden bed, that tells you what to do. It's a tool. But a principle, like working with nature, that tells you how to think. It's the software that runs the entire system. See, my problem was never a lack of tools. I was trying to run my life on some really faulty software.
And this was my corrupted OS. I call it the modern trap. It's a set of principles that almost guarantees burnout. More is better, faster is better. And the most dangerous one of all, this belief that the gardener, the human at the center of it all, is some kind of infinite, inexhaustible resource. I learned the hard way, that is a complete lie.
So, to fix the software, I needed a new framework, a whole new way of seeing the design of a life.
A truly resilient system, and it doesn't matter if it's a garden or a life, it needs to be three-sided. You need the scientific, that's the how it works. You need the practical, the what to do, and you absolutely 100% need the spiritual, the connection, the purpose, the why you're even doing it. And this just says it all, doesn't it? My life was a one-legged stool. I was an expert in the practical, the work. I knew the what and the how better than anybody. But the why, that deep connection to my purpose, it was gone. And a one-legged stool can't stand for very long. So the journey then wasn't about learning more techniques. It was about rebuilding my life into a stable, three-sided design, one that could actually support my weight. But building this, it required another layer, a foundation that I hadn't even realized was missing. And this next part, this revealed the most overlooked element in any system I had ever designed. Before you even get to design principles, you have to start with ethics. In permaculture, there are three core ethics that form the foundation for absolutely everything: earth care, people care, and fair shares.
So here's the crucial point. For years, I thought people care was just about, being kind to others. I was so wrong. It's a design requirement. It means recognizing that the gardener is the most important and honestly the most fragile element in the garden. If the human breaks, the entire system fails. People care has to include self-care. Here's a professional secret I learned. We get lost in the details, the next email, the next deadline, the next bill, because it's just easier than facing the larger pattern. And the most dangerous pattern of all is a life that consistently takes more emotional energy than it gives back. So how do you start seeing your own pattern? It begins with your first harvest. And no, I don't mean from the garden. I mean from your own life. Okay, here's a simple 3-2-1 action plan for this week. The 3 is for an ethical audit. Just ask yourself one question. Does my current life design pass the people care test for me? The 2 is for 2 quick observations. First, just identify one draining rule you live by. Then, find 10 minutes to just sit and watch the world exist without you managing it. And the 1, that's your first immediate yield. Name your chaos point.
That single thing that drains you the most. Just give it a name.
You know, by doing this kind of work, I transformed. I'm not that wreck from 2012 anymore. I'm a gardener, a designer who finally understood that the most important, resilient, and life-giving thing I could ever grow was a boundary.
This is just the beginning. I invite you to join me on this journey over the next 24 weeks as we dive deeper into these principles and learn how to design lives of true resilience. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Don't worry about the details for just a moment. Step back. What is the fundamental pattern that is running your life right now?